I'm Teresa Matsura, and you're listening to Uncanny Japan. And it's almost Halloween. While in Japan, the spookiest time of year is summer, I can't help extending the mood up until the end of October. It's been some time since I've done anything creepy here, so let's remedy that. Today, let me tell you about tunnels, the haunted kind. And then in the next episode, that will fall on Halloween, I'll tell you a chilling ghost story about a particular tunnel. Today's show will be a little scary, nothing too gory or over the top, but I wanted to give a heads up in case you don't like those kind of things. If you do like those kind of things, go ahead and turn out the lights and close your eyes. Would you like to explore the stranger, more obscure corners of Japanese culture? Dig a little deeper into superstitions, curious customs, and all those mysterious creatures that inhabit the land? If so, then this is the podcast for you. Uncanny Japan is where I, author Teresa Matsura, share all the fascinating tidbits I unearth while doing research for my writing. From the bizarre to the ghastly, and everything in between. I hope you enjoy the show. I would hazard to guess that Japan has more haunted tunnels than any country in the world. I have zero evidence for this. It's just a hunch based on a couple things. For one, glancing at a Japanese atlas, you learn the country is 73 to 75% mountainous. That means in order to travel anywhere, you need to have a lot of tunnels. And Japan certainly has a lot of tunnels. A second reason for my bold claim is that except for the modern, brightly lit, clean, and somewhat roomy tunnels that you can find in bigger cities or built to accommodate the Tomei Expressway, in my 30-plus years here, 90% or more are dreadfully old. Some tunnels even constructed over 100 years ago and are still being used. All of them, though, are narrower, darker, wetter, and more unsettling than anything I've driven through in the States. I'm not complaining either. I quite enjoy turning on my headlights when I enter a sinister-looking stone cavity, walls darkened by moss and mold. Water dripping from the ceiling, making puddles on the uneven road, or splashing on my windshield when I least expect it. And my third reason I think most of Japan's tunnels are haunted in some way or another is that I keep hearing over and over about different local tunnels that have some ghost story or urban legend attached to them. Like almost all of them. I know more haunted tunnels in my city than non-haunted ones. And not just the really old, unused ones either. For example, there's a much-traveled tunnel near me called Shin Nihonsaka Tunnel. Before it became new or Shin, it was just the Nihonsaka Tunnel. It's incredibly long, over 3 kilometers, or almost 2 miles. Yes, driving through that took a little getting used to. Anyway, I remember the day I was told it was haunted. It seems back in 1979 there was an accident that led to a pileup inside of 173 cars and trucks. This led to a fire that raged so hot the sprinkler system broke and it burned for 3 days. This made it the biggest tunnel fire in Japanese history. Miraculously, only 7 people perished in the accident. Yet that is still 7 precious lives lost. It said the restless spirits remain trapped inside that 2-mile-long, gloomy, cavernous stretch of road. I was cautioned to always roll up my windows before entering the tunnel. Yes, that's probably because of the exhaust fumes. But if you listen to my mother-in-law, it's so the ghosts don't slip into your car and ride home with you. There are stories, quite a few of them, of the spirits leaving handprints on your windows as you drive through. So I kind of assume, given their long histories, all tunnels in Japan are haunted to some degree or another. Remember I said a good number of them were built hundreds of years ago? Think about that. Without any modern equipment, digging through a mountain and trying to shore up the sides and the ceiling before the whole thing collapsed on you. It wasn't just physically brutal work and highly dangerous, but it was also almost guaranteed to anger the deities who lived on or in the mountain. Sure, sacrifices were made to appease these aggrieved gods. I talk about those in the Hitobashira episodes, 81 and 94. Human pillars, or in effect human sacrifices. Still, many deaths occurred, and those restless spirits evidently still abound. Many battles were also fought around or even in tunnels. What a perfect place to ambush your enemy. More death, more agitated spirits. Speaking of human pillars, I just read that Tokugawa Ieyasu called for Hitobashira when building the Edo castle. During the Great Kanto earthquake, part of the castle collapsed, and the bones of 16 people were recovered. All of them had coins on their heads. I just thought that was morbidly interesting. Anyway, these older passageways were footpaths or defensive networks built around castles, meaning they were quite narrow, unlit, and damp. But there are also many that aren't so old and are still used as single-lane roads today. And of all the hundreds, and most likely thousands of ghostly tunnels out there, some stand out as more haunted or cursed than others. So let's talk about 3 of them. The first one. Have you ever heard of Kiyotaki Tunnel in Kyoto? It's considered one of the most haunted in Japan. It runs between Arashiyama and Sagaki Otaki, and was started in 1927 and finished in 1928. It's still in use today to both pedestrians and vehicles, only it's very narrow and long and allows only one car to pass through at a time. When you approach it, you see a single light, either red or green, indicating whether or not you can proceed. Why, yes, there are rumors of times past when the light turned green and someone entered thinking it was safe, only to be met by an oncoming car. You see, there are many spirits in and around the tunnel. There are people who died while building it, or in accidents, or even those who took their own lives, because the forest around Kiyotaki Tunnel is known to be a suicide spot. It's those ghosts who mess with the light, luring innocent victims inside, and perhaps to join them in death. Other creepy occurrences that happen are people feeling sick or nauseous while passing through. Some, while deep inside the tunnel, hear voices or a woman shrieking, or feel the car rock as if hit by a sudden gust of wind. Some see a woman in white standing at the exit, Others have reported seeing the woman running toward them after they've exited and jumping on their cars. Sometimes handprints have been found on the windows afterward. Another thing the Kiyotaki Tunnel doesn't have going for it is that while it's estimated at being 500 meters long, legend says it's actually 444 meters long. 444. Remember, the word for four in Japanese is shi, which by another character means death. So death, death, death. Next is Isegami Tunnel in Aichi Prefecture. There are actually two, but even the newer one is quite old. It was reopened in 1960 and it's still used today. It's narrow, but it has 2 lanes and has various stories surrounding it. A woman, or sometimes it's said 2 children, died in or near the tunnel. Either they drowned due to a flash flood or were buried in a landslide during a typhoon. Either way, the woman can be seen wearing white, maybe getting a ride with a truck driver late at night, only to disappear upon exiting the tunnel. As for the children, they've been seen as ghostly apparitions that rush at you suddenly when you notice them, or they'll leave writing on your windows as if drawn by little greasy, ghosty fingers. The older Isegami Tunnel is farther up in the mountains, and it's much narrower, surrounded by forest and overgrown. It's not used anymore. So even now, there are no lights inside this one. It's long, and it gets totally dark even in the middle of day. Flashlights don't make much of a dent in the pitch blackness either. It's cold and windy and very damp, with water dripping from the mossy stone walls of the ceiling. This one shares the ghost stories of the first, the woman or children who died there. Some tales even going so far as to say the mother of the 2 children can sometimes be seen clinging to the walls of the tunnel as she searches for them. The last tunnel we'll cover today is Inunaki Tunnel, or Howling Dog Tunnel. It has both a survival game called Inunaki Tunnel based on it, and a movie that came out in 2019 called Howling Village that's kind of related to it too. Here too there are 2 Inunaki tunnels, a newer one, not so haunted, and an older one, very haunted. Before we get to the tunnel though, let's talk about the village super quick. Although there's enough weird and mystery surrounding this Howling Dog Village to do a whole episode if you'd like. But for now, just know that there really was an Inunaki Mura, or Howling Dog Village, although its real name was Inunaki Dani, Howling Dog Valley. It came about in 1691 when a bunch of samurai families moved in, and the entire area was called Inunaki Yama, or Howling Dog Mountain. That village no longer exists, but there is one of urban legend that is a brilliant piece of horror surrounded in creepy myths. Basically, the story goes if you ever come across this village, you'll find a sign posted that states the Japanese Constitution does not apply beyond this point, meaning anything can happen in the village, and it does evidently. As for the tunnel, aside from the usual paranormal activity and spooky things that are said to happen there, one rumor is that as you drive up to it, your car will stall. Nothing you do gets the engine to turn over. There's no one around and it's a very long walk down the mountain. But hey, you happen to notice a path through the woods. Surely following that will bring help. However, it only leads to that nightmare village. A real horror also occurred back in 1988 when 5 teens who tried to steal a man's car but didn't succeed later captured the same man, brought him into the tunnel and burned him alive. Yes, they were caught and tried. These days, both ends of the tunnel are sealed off by large blocks. One side is totally impenetrable. The other side, though, has some space at the very top that not very well-mannered people have discovered. Now that barricade and the inside of the tunnel is covered in graffiti and garbage. People just going to get a thrill, I suppose, and a visit from some ghosts. So these are just 3 of the hundreds, dare I say thousands of haunted tunnels all across Japan. And it makes me think there must be something more than past deaths and creepy atmosphere, dark, damp, confined spaces that spur the imagination, the rise of the supernatural, and that deep feeling of dread that overcomes us in certain situations. And maybe there is. Tunnels are liminal spaces, in between are transitional spaces. They are places where the usual rules of life are irrelevant, where anything can happen. When you enter a tunnel, you're going from one place to another, from one state of being to another. There is the you before you enter, and then the you that comes out on the other side. Is the one that exits the same as the one that entered? What kinds of things can happen to change you while passing through that dark, enclosed, disquieted space? Speaking of liminal spaces, I'm sure you won't be surprised that spirits like to hang out in them, especially unsettled ones who have died of violent or sudden death, usually at the hands of another. So they gather in the long shadows across the cold stone walls, and they wait. They wait for someone like you, foolhardy enough to chase the thrill of doing something frightening, not once considering the real danger of it, not thinking about what has become of the others who left warning stories through the years. Don't go into that tunnel. Don't roll down your windows. Don't look into your rear view mirror. What nightmares are they still living for having so casually and unseriously encroached on this in-between space where spirits wait and our normal rules of reality no longer apply? Thank you for listening. Everyone stay safe and take care, and I'll talk to you again in 2 weeks. You've reached the end of the show, and I just want you to know how much we appreciate you listening and supporting us. Any subscribing, reviewing, and gushing to your friends, family, even random strangers really does help keep us going. If you have the means and you want to help a little more and get a little more, we are making extra content over on Patreon, all for only $5 a month. Or if you like to read horror, you might be interested in my Bram Stoker-nominated short story collection, The Carp-Faced Boy and Other Tales. 本当にありがとうございます. Thank you again, and I'll talk to you real soon.